Hi, I'm Julie Rogers, and I'm going to talk to you today about real estate law as a career, and also about course selection if you think you might be interested in being a real estate lawyer. So first of all, real estate law is a transactional practice. It involves negotiating deals, drafting documents, closing the deals, giving advice to your clients about real estate matters. There are different areas of real estate law, and some lawyers are very broad and practice in a lot of the different areas, and others are more narrow. For example, some lawyers may represent primarily developers, and so those lawyers would be involved in possibly helping a developer set up an entity to buy some real estate, actually buying the real estate, then entering into a loan transaction to borrow money to purchase the real estate, and maybe getting the zoning worked out for the real estate, entering into construction contracts, and once improvements are built, entering into leases with tenants. So all sorts of different things. Other lawyers might have more clients who are lenders, and then would be involved primarily in financing transactions. So again, a lot of different things that real estate lawyers do, but it is a transactional practice that involves doing deals and giving advice rather than litigation. Let's talk some about courses that I would recommend that you take, and some options that you might want to look into if you're thinking you might want to be a real estate lawyer. First of all, there's some courses that I really think that every law student should take. For example, business enterprise is important for every law student, but for a real estate lawyer, you really do need to know about those entities that you're going to be dealing with. Another course is federal income tax. And again, while I think every law student should take that, it's really important for a real estate lawyer. Even if you don't give tax advice, you really need to be able to recognize tax issues so that you can make sure that your client gets the advice that your client needs relating to real estate tax issues. Don't worry if you are not able to get those classes in the fall. I know that we offer them every semester, and taking them in the spring of your second year really works just fine. So if you can't get into those two during the fall. A couple of other classes that I think are a good idea for all law students and really for real estate lawyers as well would be evidence. Even if you're a transactional lawyer, you want to make sure you understand some litigation issues in case one of your deals ever ends up in litigation. Hopefully it won't. Also, wills and trusts is a useful class because it deals with dispositions of property, and you might end up working with real estate that is held in trust. So that's useful as a real estate attorney. Okay, now let's get to the more specific courses. Real estate transactions is the basic course, basic doctrinal course that really teaches you a lot about all of the different real estate issues, not all of them, but a lot of the different real estate issues that you would run into, and just the basic aspects of those. So if you're going to be a real estate lawyer, that's really one that you want to sign up for. And that is a course that we're offering every semester. I teach it in the fall and the spring next year. So I would love to see you in my class. We also offer a seminar, a commercial real estate seminar, and that goes into more of the kind of practical aspects that practitioners might run into in various different types of real estate transactions. It's not a writing seminar, but again, it's taught by practicing real estate lawyers who can talk about some of the ins and outs of their everyday practice. All right, let's talk about some other courses that are offered that would be useful for a real estate lawyer. Regardless of whether you represent lenders or whether you represent developers or other parties, it's really useful to know about loan transactions. And there are two different courses that I would really recommend in that area. And one is payment systems, because it will teach you about promissory notes and negotiable instruments. It's also a really practical course just for learning about how your credit cards work. But in terms of real estate law, that's one I would really recommend. And also secure transactions. Secure transactions is an interesting course because it talks about how do you create a security interest in personal property. In the real estate transactions course, we talk about transfers of real estate, we talk about mortgages, quite a lot. So it's useful, and I think it helps you understand mortgages better if you also understand creating security interests in personal property. And in fact, in most real estate transactions, the lender is going to want to take a security interest in some of the personal property of the borrower as well as the real property. One course that I think would be particularly useful right now would be Creditors Rights. Unfortunately, we may be facing some tough economic times, and so we may end up with a lot of clients who are in bankruptcy or clients who are trying to collect from their borrowers who are in bankruptcy. So Creditors' Rights would be particularly applicable now. And I have learned that as a real estate lawyer, real estate is cyclical. It goes up and down, and in the down times, it's really useful to know about bankruptcy. So again, Creditors' Rights is one I would really recommend. Land use is a course that I teach, and it's a fun course, but it is one that is really geared towards a different area, kind of practice area. There are some lawyers who really work with zoning issues primarily. A lot of that is an administrative type practice where you might work with city, with county governments, administrative agencies in trying to get your clients' properties zoned the way they need for a particular development they want, and then also might fight particular zoning issues. So that's a course that certainly is related to real estate, but the lawyers who practice in that area, I mean, some real estate lawyers definitely do that sort of work too, but not all of them. If you're going to be practicing in the state of Texas, I recommend Texas Matrimonial Property Rights. It's just a good course to know about, and when you deal with real estate law, even though many of the clients will be entities, very often there are guarantors of loans who are individuals. It's just useful to know something about Texas matrimonial property rights. Also, as a real estate lawyer, it's useful to have the oil and gas course. One of the things as a real estate lawyer that you're going to do would be you'd be looking at title insurance commitments and policies, and you need to know something about possible oil and gas interests. If you're specifically interested in oil and gas law, then you would want to take the Texas Land Titles course as well, because oil and gas lawyers actually do title opinions. Real estate lawyers typically don't, but the Texas Land Titles course as a real estate lawyer would give you more information about some of those title issues. So again, it would be a good course. Now, I'm listing a lot of courses. I know you can't take all of these probably during law school. So part of what you need to think about is what particular areas of real estate law you're interested in. Environmental law is another good course to take, although we cover just a tiny bit of the environmental issues relating to loan transactions that come up in the real estate transactions course. Environmental law would tell you a little bit more about some of those environmental issues. If you think you might be representing developers, then it wouldn't be a bad idea to take either corporate tax or partnership tax. That just gives you a little bit more detail about some of those issues. I want to recommend we have an externship in the area of real estate law with the Department of Housing and Urban Development. That externship gives you the opportunity to work on real estate transactions because HUD does guarantee certain loans by developers. And then it also works with their housing issues. So if you're interested in either of those areas, then that's a great externship. All of the students actually used to sponsor that externship, and all of the students that I had who did that work really thought it was a great experience, and it does definitely teach you some additional things about real estate law. If you're interested in real estate, here's some other kind of extracurricular opportunities you might be interested in. First of all, SMU has a real estate law association, and I would recommend that. It's a way to spend time with other students who are interested in real estate law. The Dallas Bar has a real property section, and once a month, the real property section has a luncheon down at the Belo Mansion, and students can go to that luncheon and get some continuing legal education and just great speakers who talk in more detail about some specific real estate issues and more advanced issues. So that's a great thing to do. It's also a really good opportunity to meet lawyers who are in the real estate area and to do some networking. And I know that the lawyers down there are always excited to have students at those Dallas Bar real estate section lunches, and you can join that as a student and then go to those meetings. And you actually may be able to go, I think you can go to the meetings regardless. You don't have to be a member of the section. And then the Texas State Bar has the Real Property, Probate, and Trust Law section, and students can become student members of the bar and also student members of those sections. And those sections, the Real Estate, Probate, and Trust Law section of the Texas Bar offers some opportunities. If you're a member of the section, then you can go online and get all sorts of papers that different real estate practitioners have presented at different real estate conferences. If anyone has any additional questions, I would be happy to talk to you about real estate law, and you can find me online and give me an email and set up a time to talk. So good luck, and I hope I see a lot of you in real estate transactions in the fall. Bye-bye.